Friends, I have been lied to, deceived, tricked, hoodwinked. John Carpenter and his band of cronies, Nigel and Tommy, have played me like a fool. A fool! When I saw there was an installment of the Halloween franchise that I'd never seen before, I was taken aback. I was shocked. I've called myself a fan for years, and I've only seen 11 of the now 13 movies. I knew I had to see it before I went and saw the newest installment in theaters, which is the 13th movie, and it comes out on the 14th of October, and it seems like just a day late and kind of like a missed opportunity, but that's beside the point. I sprung into action. I used my Google Play rewards to rent the film on YouTube, and then found out it was free on Peacock, and I didn't need to do that. Google rewards are kind of hard to come by because they only ask you questions sometimes and give you like 10 cents, and movies cost like $4. I hit play and almost immediately fell asleep, like any dad at any movie theater anywhere in the world. The next evening, I tried again and stayed awake the whole time. When I first began my viewing of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, I was excited. I just couldn't wait to see how my boy Mikey was going to interact with witches, do some witchcraft, murder some new people. But an hour and 38 minutes later, I felt nothing but disappointment. If you've seen the movie already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or even if you knew about this movie more than I did. I just saw the title, Halloween 3, and jumped into it. The movie follows Dr. Dan and a girl named Ellie as they investigate her father's murder. And why would a doctor help a young girl investigate her father's murder? Why not the police? Oh, 'cause he's a horny old man.
Nothing gets a lady fired up like the death of a close family member.
Together, they discover a plot by novelty toy maker and robot army builder Connell Cochran. He builds a bunch of robots, and he has this weird old one that gets broken, and he mentions that it was made in
1785.
And I thought that can't be right, so I did some digging, and the first robot or humanoid automaton was made in 1785 by a Prussian watchmaker. I thought that was really cool, and then I got lost down the rabbit hole reading about really old clockwork robots.
Look at this robot. Look at this horrifying robot play the dulcimer. This is way scarier than any horror movie I've ever seen.
Anyway, Mr. Cochran is planning a Halloween mass murder because he's implanted a magical little device in every costume mask that his company sells, and it's triggered by a TV commercial. The longest possible TV commercial. This commercial is literally 3 real-world minutes long. 3 minutes of just this horrible, annoying beeping sound. The movie's only an hour and a half, so 3 minutes is a good chunk. And it happens a lot. Pretty frequently.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
And when the masks are triggered, it just kind of turns people into this horrible mess of bugs and snakes. But what about Michael? Michael Myers, the Shape himself. Is his mask implanted with a magic device? Is he gonna turn into bugs and snakes? Is he gonna show up and kill Mr. Cochran and Dr. Detective Dan? No. He's not in it at all. That's not entirely true. There is this commercial that plays at a bar towards the beginning for the actual Halloween movies. And the actor who played Michael Myers in the first 2 Halloween movies, Dick Warlock, is in this one, but he plays a robot assassin. Imagine going to the theater with your friends in October of 1982, and then the commercial for the movie you think you're seeing is in the movie. I'd be confused. It's 40 years later, and I was still confused. But Josh, you say, Josh, isn't this movie about witches? Josh, where are the witches? Josh, isn't this called Season of the Witch? Isn't it, Josh? Josh? No. Dr. Dan says the word witchcraft 1 time.
Witchcraft.
And explains that this whole murderous plot of his is for the benefit of the Festival of Samhain, which is a real festival. It's a Gaelic festival where we actually get a lot of our traditions for modern Halloween. It marks the end of harvest season, but there's nothing about turning children into bugs. It seems like it was a good time, full of feasts and parties. There is the actor Dick Warlock, which is a witchcraft tie-in. And this little girl from the cover art is wearing a witch hat, but it's just because she's dressed as a witch for Halloween. I'm not even really leaving anything out. At the very beginning of the movie, we meet this guy who's running away from something and looks like Trevor from GTA. He ends up in the hospital where Dr. Detective Dan witnesses his murder. Then he meets Ellie.
Hi.
Hello.
And they just drive out to the middle of nowhere to investigate. They find out about the masks that are turning people into bugs. Dr. Dan sabotages the mask factory, kills Dr. Cochran, and then escapes with Ellie, who it turns out was a robot the whole time, and he has to fight her. He knocks her head off, and this is the coolest shot in the whole movie. Look at her there in the grass. And then the movie ends on a giant cliffhanger where Dr. Detective Dan is trying to get the triggering television commercial off the air, but the credits roll right before you're able to see if he did so. Is this guy trying to call TV and make him take a commercial down? In an interview with Tom Atkins, who plays Dr. Detective Dan, he says that he was successful in stopping the plot and saving all of these children, but he didn't write the movie. That's just a fun thing that an actor said one time. Now, John Carpenter's idea here was that he was going to take the Halloween movies and just make an anthology series with a different story every year based around the Halloween holiday. But he had already sabotaged himself by making the first two movies about Michael Myers. It's like if after Glee, Ryan Murphy made American Horror Story, but called it Glee 2. It's scary this time. Universal Pictures hated the idea and the movie so much that they pulled all advertising for the film, which means that people, just like me, saw the title and went to see it for Michael Myers, and then left the theater angry and disappointed. All of this culminated in Halloween 3 being the least profitable in the entire franchise. Oh, well, the least profitable at the time. The movie should have been called Season of the Witch, a Halloween story, or just Season of the Witch. They could have put a lot more emphasis on the witchcraft storyline instead of Mr. Cochran. They should have put a lot more emphasis on the witch storyline. Maybe Mr. Cochran had a whole coven helping him run the novelty company and really built up these little devices that were implanted in the masks. When I went to watch it today in 2022, I was expecting a Michael Myers story, and I'm positive that people in 1982 were expecting the same thing. They just used the name of movies that were already popular to lure people in and make money off something that was totally unrelated. I feel cheated. I feel lied to. I feel dirty. I feel wrong. I haven't seen any commercials for the new Halloween movie, but I know what it's about. Imagine if I went to see it and Michael Myers just wasn't in it at all. Hi, me from the future. I saw the new one last night, and spoilers, he's kinda not in it. I'm gonna give this movie 0 out of 5 Mikey masks, but I will give it 2 out of 5 scary Halloween pumpkins. Comment down below and let me know what you thought of this movie. I'd love to know what people who saw it in theaters originally thought. I'd love to know what you thought the first time you saw it. I'm super angry about this movie. Way more angry about this movie than I should be. Subscribe, like if you liked it. Talk trash in the comments if you didn't. Love you.
Linda, shut up. Listen, Linda, listen. Linda, listen.